Each and every Thursday, sportsmemo.com goes back in time and you can get daily pick packages priced for only $5. And yes, for those wondering, that includes any 5% best bets normally priced at $30. This is the real Throwback Thursday. As an added bonus, all first-time customers will be credited $25 in wager bucks after those initial $5 purchases. So each and every Thursday, make sure you go to sportsmemo.com, get your favorite capper's best bet for only $5.
Hey guys, welcome back right here to WagerTalk TV for another episode of Puck Time. It is time to talk some NHL betting. We have Carmine Bianco joining me, of course, as usual, and Mr. Bryan Leonard. Today, we are talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. The Philadelphia Flyers take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Panthers take on the Predators. The Jets go head-to-head with the Canadiens. And the Maple Leafs look to continue their hot run against the Vancouver Canucks. Carmine, I'll bring you in. How are things, man? Congratulations on your big win last night. Or yesterday afternoon.
Thank you. Yes, a good day overall from yesterday. 3-0, good start to the month, 9-2-1. But yeah, 2-0 day in the NHL, or evening in the NHL, and a 5% winner in soccer. Some of you guys, I think, in the chat followed along and used that coupon that I gave out. But Barcelona -1 got there. It took a while, but they got there and did exactly what I thought they would do. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I'm pretty happy about the fact that February is behind us and March has started off the same way January did, where I had an extremely good month. So the ebbs and flows of this game are absolutely great. And one quick thing before you go to Bryan, I know some guys asked about the shirt update. We are working on the shirts. The sizes and the shirts for Puck Time. Just hang tight. We will get updates to you guys in this following week.
And if you guys follow Carm, you saw a pretty good tweet yesterday, Carmine. Of course, the 5% play cashed in exciting fashion, some late goals. And Carmine says, if you watch the game, you realize I don't really have much hair left. And it's always fun when someone can take shots at themselves, Carm. But, 1-0 most of the game, 1-0, I should say. And then all of a sudden, a few more goals later on in the extra time. So that was great to see. Bryan, you cashed your 5% ticket earlier in the week. This is your usual Thursday spot. Welcome in, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for all the promotion on that. It was you made it sound like it was an easier winner than it was, because they cut it back down to 3-2. And anytime you've got a 1-goal lead, that's just not enough to be comfortable with. But they win. Carolina wins 4-2. Unfortunately, I went against Toronto yesterday and I had Edmonton, and I was never in that game. It was a bad decision on my own part. Broke a 4-game winning streak, but still number one going all the way back to January 16th, I believe, over at WagerTalk. So looking to get back on the board today. I love this card today. This is my strongest card of the season. I've got 4 plays up today, so really excited about doing the show today.
What a great day to have you on then, Bryan. The strongest card of the season. Happy to have you on for today. I just want to say kind of the same thing as Carmine. February was not good for me. March has really, really picked up, and the tail end of February was great. I'm on a 15-1 all sports run. That includes soccer, college basketball, NBA, and hockey. Yesterday got capped off the night with a great winner on the over between the Lakers and the Kings, and I got it done with my St. Louis Blues. So, guys, the run hopefully will continue today. That's 15-1 all sports run, hoping to keep things moving forwards. Lightning Blackhawks, guys. We're going to get into this matchup here. And we've touched on the divisional standings, Carm. We've talked about the way these teams have played. And I think it would be very fair to say that the Chicago Blackhawks, they've probably surpassed some people's opinions, man. They've looked a lot better than one people might think. And some are giving them still not the credit they deserve. So I got to ask you, are you buying into how well they've been playing and they've been competing? Or is it going to be a wake-up call tonight when they play Tampa?
Yeah, I have to believe it's a wake-up call. Listen, you can only beat the teams that they put in front of you. So, and when you do that, you're collecting points, and that's what the Hawks have been doing. They're playing, and early on in the season, Lankinen looked absolutely fantastic between the pipes. He's been a pleasant surprise for them and getting them a lot of points. But I still do what I always do, and I look at team schedules and that whole strength of schedule to determine whether a team is due for some regression. And I mentioned, the Hawks are due for some regression. The only problem is the teams where they were playing aren't the type of teams that are going to put them in that spot where they get behind and have trouble getting out of being down a goal or two. 8 of their last 10 games have come against the Detroit Red Wings and the Columbus Blue Jackets. And these are teams that once you get ahead of them, you stay ahead of them. It's a different story against a team like Tampa. And they played Tampa at the start of the season, a couple games. I believe they were in Tampa, and Tampa beat them by, I think, 5-1 and 5-2 score lines. You look at their last 10 games that the Hawks have played, the only 2 teams that are considered the upper echelon of that division are teams like Carolina. They beat Carolina. Carolina beat them 5-3. And they played a game against Dallas. Dallas is the team is not scoring a lot of goals, and they got by Dallas in OT in that game. This is a different story here. You're playing a Tampa team that rolls out 3-4 very good lines, gets ahead of you. When they get ahead of you, they sort of strangle you. And I think that's what we're in tune for. The Hawks haven't played since the 28th, so they've been off. They've had a 3-day break, but I don't think that really makes a difference here. I haven't seen the numbers for Chicago on 3 days rest. I don't think it's going to matter here. It's Tampa Bay for me.
Yeah, strength of schedule is a huge thing that I talk about a lot as well. And Carmine brings up a great point, Bryan, with the fact that this Blackhawks team hasn't really played the toughest competition. But to his point, also, you can only play who's in front of you, and they have been competing. But I think Tampa Bay, they've been playing the best teams in the division. How do you approach this game? Tampa Bay, obviously heavy favorites.
Yeah, great point about the schedule. But as you pointed out, you can only play who is on your schedule. Tampa Bay did beat Chicago up pretty bad early in the season, but Chicago's a lot better team now than they were then. They're not only winning, they're winning by margins. They're playing very good. If you take a look at goals plus or minus per 60, the Lightning are number 1, up 1 goal a game basically on 5-on-5 against the opposition. Excellent team, in my opinion, the best team in the NHL. The problem is the line is telling you that. There's no value on playing Tampa Bay on the road at this number. The value is on Chicago playing at home. Sure, they rank 20th in goals plus or minus per 60. But if you look at expected goals, the Lightning are expected 2.39, give up 2.25. That's very low for a team that's scoring as many goals as they are. It's a team that's a little bit overrated in my regard right now. And, you talked about the 3 days off for Chicago. That's 3 days off to prepare for this offense for a team in the Lightning. They've already lost to them twice. They've got the revenge angle, and they've got the extra time to prepare. I'm willing to take the shot here with Chicago plus. You're getting close to 2-1. I think Circa's got them at plus 193, I think, at last I saw. I'm an underdog player. I don't play a lot of favorites, and if I do, I maximize it to the fullest. And to me, this line should not be any higher than minus 170, and I will gladly take Chicago here at the plus money.
And I think that if you like Chicago, I believe you also like the under in this game. Chicago has done a great job of buying into the fact they have to play a better defensive hockey this year in order to be successful, and they have definitely done that. Our next game here, guys, we're going to talk Flyers and the Penguins. And this is, maybe I didn't want to bring up the Penguins, Carm, because of the bad luck I've had against them. It's just been so bad. Probably why I didn't want to bring that game up. But Flyers minus 125. And here's what I'll say about this game. And this is just an angle that I've noticed over time, and I'll see if these guys agree with me. A lot of times in the NHL, in the NBA, no matter what sport it might be, you kind of see when a star player goes out for whatever reason it might be, personal reasons, injury, the team rallies around them for that first game after. But then as those games move forward, it's a little bit tougher to, be like, okay, we're missing a pretty key guy. We're missing our top line center right now. And that's what we're seeing with the Penguins with Sidney Crosby. But I have to say, for this Philadelphia Flyers team, I thought during the start of the year, and I think that quite a few of us handicappers at WagerTalk, that handicap hockey, were pretty high on the defensive ability of the Philadelphia Flyers. And we haven't really seen that, guys. We haven't really seen consistent defense from them on the year. So when I look at this matchup right now, I think this should be most close to a pick'em at minus 110, because even though Crosby is out, I'm seeing the compete level and the depth showing up much more right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins. If you have a betting app or a score app and you look at your alerts from the Pittsburgh Penguins scoring right now, you might not be able to guess who it's going to be from. But for Philadelphia, you'll be able to guess who it's from. I think their depth isn't nearly as strong. I would say Pittsburgh or pass as far as the side goes in this game. What do you think about this game here, Bryan?
I had Pittsburgh in that last game. I believe you had the opposite side. Probably your only one loser out of this. That's an amazing run. 15-1. Got to repeat it.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We all look for that. You may get that once a year if you're handicapping every sport. Congratulations, and keep up the great
Thank
work.
you.
But yeah, I was against you in that one, and I did take Pittsburgh, and it was a pretty easy winner. And every time I've been on the show, I've talked about how overrated I think Philadelphia is on the season. But in this certain situation, I think Philadelphia is the right side. The only problem for myself is I think I'm priced out of it a little bit. We're looking at 120, 125. And like you, I was hoping to get something like a pick'em line. So I'm not going to end up playing Philadelphia here. But when I'm looking at the stats, I think they're the better ball club than Pittsburgh is right now. Pittsburgh's missing their best player for the second game. And, if you watch enough Marco D'Angelo videos, he's always on that injured player theory the first game, fades him the second game. And since these two teams just played, and I have them rated basically even overall, I have a slight lean to the Flyers. If the line goes down and I can get them at minus 110, I'll bet them. But I think the Flyers, at least in my opinion, are the right side in this game.
Carm, you made the joke the last time these teams played, man. The second that I said I was on Philadelphia, you were going to load up on the Flyers. You didn't do it, did you?
Yeah, no, I was having some fun with you. But I did like Pittsburgh in that spot. I thought it was a good, even with, and then later, obviously the news of Crosby came out, but I thought it was a good revenge spot at the time. But I'm going to keep this quick and to the point. I'm going to echo a lot of what Bryan said and what you said to start off this preview. It's one of the angles that I really like, which is that injured player angle where that first game they sort of rally around the team. I've seen it, and it's not just hockey. I see it in other sports, and they just tend to play a lot better that first game. And I just think the Flyers are a better team. While that number is high right now at 125, it sounds weird to say 125 is high, but in this situation, it does seem high. I don't think it's going to go any lower than this. So if you actually do like the Flyers, you've got to take them now at 120 or 125 if you want to take them at 120 to 125, because as people start to look at these games and break them down and they start talking about how Crosby is out, people are going to start betting Philadelphia. It's not going to go much higher, but it's going to probably end up at 130, 135. It could end up that high. So it's Flyers for me tonight.
Well, this next series we're going to talk about, this next game, I guess I should say, is going to be the Florida Panthers against the Nashville Predators. And right now we're seeing pretty much a flip here. We're seeing the Florida Panthers now minus 135 opened up as short dogs here. And Carm, I want to ask you, because we talked about the strength of schedule. We've all used the expression, you can only play who's in front of you. But this Nashville team has been the exact opposite of reliable on the season. You haven't been able to count on them to score goals. You haven't been able to count on them to get power play goals or to kill penalties. All of those categories you want to be able to count on teams for, you haven't been able to do that. And I feel like that's been the story of this Predators team for like the past 3 years. They have some good names on their team. They have some great defenders. They have a pretty good goalie in Pekka Rinne and UC Saros, but for some reason they just can't get the job done. Now they get the job done against teams like Columbus, teams like Detroit, but now you step up to the plate against a team like Florida. I don't know, man. Is it just a don't think too hard about it and grab Florida, or is it a stay away game and see what Nashville can do?
I think it's a little bit of each, but I tend to lean with the part of the don't overthink it. And here's the thing: is the problem is, and Andrew, you know this from the beginning of the season, and I'm a perfect example of this. I overthought a lot of things at the beginning of the season, and you just go with the numbers. You just go with a lot of times just what you're seeing on the ice, and you make an educated decision, and along with the numbers that you see. Yeah, strength of schedule. Listen, the Preds have looked better of late. There's no disputing that. Here's the problem. 8 of their last 9 games have been against Detroit and Columbus. Again, you can only play the teams that are in front of you, but in their last 10 games, they've only played 2 teams that I think are very good teams. Carolina, they lost 4-2. Tampa Bay, they lost 6-1. They're now playing the other team, who I consider the top 3 teams in this division, which is Florida and the Panthers. So if going back to that winning culture of Florida, if this Florida team wants to be considered a contender for this division, these are games that may seem tough, but they've got to come in and win and beat a team like Nashville. And you're laying a short price here, but they're the better team. So at the end of the day, if there aren't any injuries, if you go with the team you think is the best team, you can't go wrong. Don't look for meaningless or small stats to give you some type of hope on a team that is likely a decided underdog and probably going to lose the game.
Good stuff there from Carmine. Don't forget to check him out at wt.buzz/CB. Carm's doing great with soccer and hockey right now. I want to ask you, Bryan, because you kind of mentioned, we talk in our little puck time group chat here with all of us, and we talked about how lines don't really move too much in hockey, right? Not like what you see in a point spread with basketball or a total even. We don't see movement, but there has been some movement in this game, Bryan. How do you react to it, and how do you feel about this matchup?
I've got a question about this line movement. I'm on the WagerTalk line service right now, and it's saying the opening was Nashville minus 135. I have a feeling that is a bad line. I have a feeling that it did open Florida 135. Did you, either one of you guys, actually see a line, a bettable line out there that you could have taken Florida as an underdog here?
No. I looked at these numbers last night, so I have to think that that's probably a glitch or an error there. I didn't see Nashville open up as a favorite. Not a penny or at a couple of the other books that I play at.
Yeah, I think it was just, and it happens to every line service.
There's one book I'm looking at an odds page right now, Bryan, that says Nashville opened up. So unless it definitely wasn't just the WagerTalk odds, it could have been other odds pages.
Depends on where you send it out from, and a lot of these openers don't last very long. If there is a mistake like that, it's corrected very quickly. But in my mind, this wasn't a game I was interested in, so I actually didn't even pay much attention to the line before the game. But Nashville has been playing a little bit better, as Carmine pointed out. But you do have to take a look at the competition. I made fun of Nashville all season long about how bad they are on the penalty kill, and they're moved all the way up to, I believe, 27th or 28th now. So they're not last in the league because of the teams they've been playing. But Florida is the better team here. Florida's better in basically anything you look at. The problem is the line right now at 135 area. It's likely going to price me out. It's similar to Philadelphia. I like Philadelphia a little bit better than the Florida. Florida's the right side here, but as a person who bets whatever the line is and has to make an adjustment, I don't see the value here. But if you took Florida, I would say that's probably the right side, and they're probably going to win, but I won't be on it.
And Bryan, just quickly,
in-game betting. Sorry, go ahead, Carm.
Just quickly, Andrew. Bryan, just quickly, and I just retweeted it out right now. Circa's lines, and they'll always put out their lines fairly early for the next day. Circa had this game at Panthers minus 141, Preds plus 129, and the total 5.5. So I have to believe that Preds being favored line was it was probably wrong.
I apologize, Carmine. I was just jumping in there to say that you and I do quite a bit of in-game betting, right? I'm not sure about you, Bryan, but we look at the lines, we're watching it during, and we have our WagerTalk Puck Time Twitter account. I feel like this game might be a good one for that. Just to watch it, see how it's going, see what the groove of the game is looking like. And then maybe, Bryan, we could say, yeah, there's definitely no way that this price should have been this short. Sometimes you want to see it with your own eyes for the first 10 minutes of a game, just get some visual confirmation that there's no way and that should have been the line. So the best part about this show and about betting in general, we don't have to bet every game, and I feel like that might be a good example with this one. Our dump or chase segment, guys, I've been dreading this one because I know the chat room right now on YouTube is just completely giving me hell about this. The Winnipeg Jets and the Montreal Canadiens go head-to-head. Everybody is saying, why are the Montreal Canadiens laying this chalk? How about I close things out? I'll throw it to you, Carm, for your opening thoughts.
Okay, I don't want any part of this game, even though it's minus 135, Andrew. And I'm going to let Bryan talk about this one, but I'm going to give you one initial and my only really thought on this is because this is something that if you've bet any sport long enough, and especially a sport where they continuously play day in and day out, and like baseball does, basketball does, and obviously NHL does, is when a team is mired in a slump and they get that first win, it's like a monkey off their backs. And all of a sudden, the pressure in that dressing room, the pressure on the bench or on the field or on the ice is completely different. And you then start to see this team string some wins together. This Montreal team looked absolutely horrid in their games where they played against Ottawa. They just looked like a team that weren't trying to win. They were just afraid to lose. And then I thought they turned the corner in that game against Winnipeg, where they outshot them 41-21, but lost in overtime 2-1, a game in which they were favored again for some reason. Came home, a big favorite against Ottawa, and that was not the easiest of games, but they got a win. And that is the win that could actually fuel them. So this Jets team, they don't impress me much. I'm going to go with the simplest of simple here and say that I think Montreal wins this game tonight.
Right now, Bryan, besides the Toronto Maple Leafs being at the top of this division, the North Division, I feel like it's actually very, very up in the air. Would you agree with that? The second, third, and fourth playoff spots?
I actually would last night, especially with Edmonton. Now I don't know. But,
exactly.
We're still early in the season, okay? Coming into the season, who did we want to bet on? We wanted to bet on Montreal, wanted to bet against Winnipeg. As Carmine said, Winnipeg's been a little bit better than I thought they were going to be, but it's a team that I don't have high expectations for. They performed a little bit better than I thought, but still, it's not a team I'm running to the window to bet. I talked about the goal plus and minus per 60 earlier on 5-on-5. I said Tampa Bay is number one. Right behind them is Montreal. Even with the bad streak that they've been on, they're still the second best team and 5-on-5 goals plus or minus per 60. They have the talent to do this. Obviously, they got rid of the coach, and the team has been sweating it out because they haven't been playing well. The record isn't where they want it to be. But still, from a talent standpoint, Montreal is the better team here. Now, do I have the balls to lay this number? Probably not. But as Carmine said, Montreal's a team that I think is going to win this game. If you're one of those guys that don't care much about the number and just want to bet the team you think is going to win, you're going to be on Montreal. If you're a value player, you may be on the Jets. I won't be. This is a game I'll be sitting out.
And I think that's a really good point to mention about the value, Bryan, because you can present the odds and say, if you want to just bet who you think is going to win, go ahead there, and that's probably going to be your bet on the Habs. But if you're a value player, it's probably going to be Jets or pass for you, but it does not mean you have to play the Jets. Jake Allen has been confirmed in between the pipes for the Montreal Canadiens for tonight. Of course, Carey Price has got quite a bit of flack for his play on the year so far, and obviously I'm supporting my team right now. I'm wearing the jersey. I'm supporting the Montreal Canadiens, and I want to say that people have been tough on the Carey Price, saying he's not playing his best. He's had some weak goals go in. However, they're just used to him playing, superstar level for 82 games of the year. Now he's kind of come back to earth a little bit, and he's getting hell from the media members and the fans. But when it comes down to it, Jake Allen has been more reliable. He has been more consistent. Josh Anderson is actually getting healthier. He's skating as we speak right now in Winnipeg. So they're hoping to get him back out there on the ice. And I think that if you look at this game, Montreal has played quality hockey over their past 3 games. They finally get the win in their last one. Bryan mentions the expected goals. I will look at the team total over here for the Montreal Canadiens. I feel like they will get the job done. And you can actually get a plus price if you look at the 3.5 in this one. Hellebuck is great. I think the goalie tandem in general is great for the Winnipeg Jets. But the chances and the speed that Montreal showed in their last game should carry forward into this game. But I chose this dumper chase segment with the reasoning to say that I will not lay this price with the Montreal Canadiens. I want that on record, Carm. I will not lay this price with the Montreal Canadiens.
It is on record. I will say this. Okay. So, and this is what it comes down to. I believe my numbers are right on this, and Bryan, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. If you're going to lay $1.35 on Montreal to win in this spot, you have to be certain that over 10 games, Montreal is going to win 6 of these 10 games. That's literally the profitable break-even point at like minus 135, minus 140. They have to win 6 out of 10 games if my math is right. So if you believe Montreal can beat Winnipeg in this spot 6 out of 10 times, then you make the bet and lay the minus 135.
I do want to point out before you go on to the next game, the line's up to 155 in a lot of places, 150, 155. So at that point, you've got to win even more. So it's to me, Montreal's probably going to win, but I'm not laying this number. There's better games on this. It's a huge card. I mean, there's better games on the board, at least from my standpoint.
They just haven't really proved to us they can do it and they can be reliable for a bet to lay that, to win that. Let's get into our barn burner segment here, guys. The Maple Leafs and the Canucks. Total sits at 6.5. And I've been working on a pretty cool system here and taking a lot of notes and crunching some numbers, guys. These 6.5s have gone under big time. I had looked over quite a bit of a sheet. Fun stat real quick, but all the 5s on the season, guys, 5s for totals, we haven't seen 1 5 go under on the year. It's been all wins, all overs, or pushes. So looking at these 6.5s yesterday and looking at the way certain teams have adjusted, I look back to a theory that Prez created actually a couple weeks ago when he was on the show. And Prez said that he's approaching these games as playoff games, as playoff series, as these teams are playing the same team several times. And you see the Leafs play the Oilers a couple different times. They make sure they know which defensive pairing is going to be up against McDavid, which forwards are going to be, doing really hardcore forechecking against certain defenders, different things like that. You get the familiarity with certain teams because you play them so often. And I feel like that is what's impacting totals the most. Here we see a 6.5 with a Canucks team that I would call sloppy. That's what I would call this team. Very, very sloppy. So having said all of what I just said, and Carmine has been cashing some tickets on unders left and right, I do believe if there's a team and a dance partner for this Leafs to go head-to-head with, and we see an over, I believe it's the Canucks that get them over the total because I think the Canucks are sloppy. Their defensemen, I don't really trust them. Their goaltending, I don't really trust it. And I feel like the Leafs looked good against the Oilers. They're going to break out tonight. Give me like a 5-3 game here tonight to get me over 6.5, Carm.
Oh, why did you have to do that, Andrew? With the 6.5s. Listen, they've played 3 times so far. All 3 games in Toronto, 3-1, 5-1, 7-3. So technically 2 of the 3 games have stayed under this 6.5 number. And, I was in-game bet that Leafs under yesterday. And of course, they had 5 goals scored in the second period, which kind of squashed that one. I thought it would be another low-scoring sort of Leafs 4-1 type of game. Edmonton, no resistance from that team anyways, but I just can't take the over here, Andrew. And it's the thing is because the Leafs are playing very well defensively, and you have, as you said, a Vancouver team that are playing. You need to see more out of Vancouver before you can, they got a much-needed win against Winnipeg, and then they went right back. They reverted right back the next night to the team that they've looked like the last little while, losing 5-2. And I took the over in that game after taking the under in the previous game. So in that Winnipeg-Vancouver series. So as far as this one goes, I'm going to stick with the under just because you're going to need to see scoring from Vancouver to get this over the total, and I'm not convinced we can see it unless the Leafs, unless this is an absolute flat spot for the Leafs after 3 good games against Edmonton. I haven't seen anything to convince me, so we'll see tonight. But for me, it's under or nothing here.
Yeah, Brian, that's kind of what we're noticing right now with totals. It takes 2 to dance. You can't dance by yourself, and right now you can't go over the total by yourself, really, unless you're, scoring 6 or 7 goals. So obviously we're relying more on the Canucks to hopefully get us a few, as the Leafs are a little bit more reliable. How do you feel about this total 6.5, Brian?
Yeah, for the total, I guess I can break the tie here, Andrew, and I'm in agreement with you. You take a look at expected goals.
Yes.
Canucks are 3rd in the league in expected goals. This is a team that, as was pointed out many times, they play sloppy ball. For defensively, they're not terrific. Offensively, they are a team that I'm looking to play on. And the Maple Leafs, keep in mind, Toronto played. They go into that game yesterday against Edmonton. Everybody's talking about, okay, in the series against Edmonton, Edmonton's the team that's coming up on them. Montreal's done. Toronto comes in that game, crushes Edmonton yesterday. Now they get to play the Vancouver Canucks. What kind of excitement is that going to be for Toronto? You talked about the 6.5. This is the second of a back-to-back here. I think that's a lot of reason why the line is so high. Barnaby, a professional player, was on some of our hockey and other sites earlier, and he talked about tired legs lead more into scoring, and they're having their second game here after playing a team real tough game for them coming in. Obviously, they made it easy early, but still, it's a situation where the spot is just terrible for Toronto here. I could see defensive mistakes. I could see the Canucks coming into this game and give them a really good game. And yeah, I'm in agreement. I think it's going to be high scoring.
It's hard to argue with that spot, and the back-to-back angle is certainly a factor. And guys, I'm super excited to show you guys and all the viewers what I've been working on. The stats I've been working on, and all these different charts I've been building with the totals going under, over, with 6s, 6.5s, creating time parameters, travel parameters. It's been a lot of fun building these systems and stuff like that, and having some fun with these NHL totals. Carm, let's get into your power play and any promotions that you might have.
Yep. So, Andrew, as you know, Andrew and I both have a promo up for 30 days, all sports, all action, all sports, all access, sorry, which is action as well. Use the code BIG100 at checkout on the 30-day all access package, and you get obviously $100 off from $349 down to $249. And Andrew is on an insane run. I thought 9-2-1 to start the month was impressive. This guy is knocking it out of the ballpark. So I'm promoting him and myself at the same time. Also, a 2-pack up in NHL for tonight. A couple afternoon soccer games are up. And I have a 5% play up for the weekend in soccer, which grab the number now because I think the number is going to go higher. Always get the best price on it. As far as my show best bet, I'm going to say this first, Andrew. I had a great night last night, and yet I was still sour. And you want to know why I was sour? Because the Ducks scored with 8 seconds left to ruin yesterday's St. Louis -1.5 plus 160 show best bet. Absolutely horrible 8-second goal, allowing that at the end of the game with a goalie in net. It's not an empty netter that ruins it. It was a goal scored, which ruined it. We're going to come back with Tampa Bay here, but I'm obviously not laying -220. Tampa Bay in regulation time, -130 as the show best bet. And apologies to you guys on that St. Louis Blues loss yesterday.
Carm, I know you're very Canadian, living up there in Ontario, but I feel like it's a bad time to apologize for that. You can't control that. It's a tough penalty. It's a situation. You can't control. Listen, you don't have to apologize.
I'm like, how am I going to fall asleep?
Basketball and hockey, just buy the 1 day all expense, all inclusive, and get it all for a really nice price. And yeah, I really love this card. And this actually is one of the games I have on my card. I'll use it for my power play here. I've been giving a lot of underdogs. I give out a favorite today. I like the Dallas Stars. You take a look at expected goals. The Stars are much better than the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets, as Carmine pointed out, they're just not playing as well as we expected. I didn't expect much out of them, but when they made the trade, I thought they'd get a little bit better. I haven't seen it. Dallas is a team, when they were rested, that's a team I want to play on. And they've got big advantages here on 5-on-5 and the power play. Taking a look at the power penalty kill, Columbus is better on the penalty kill, but not nearly enough to make up for the differential in the home ice and what we get on 5-on-5 and the power play. I like Dallas here. I laid the number here with Dallas, and that's one of my 4 plays today. But you can get the other 3 up on the site right now.
Check out Brian's plays over at WagerTalk.com, also wt.buzz/BL. And I like that play as well. I think they're a lot better than their stats have shown right now, Brian. So if it means anything, I agree with Brian as well. For myself, it is a hockey show, of course, but I'm going to promote that I have a 5% UFC play going this Saturday. It is one of the best, most exciting UFC cards we have seen in a while. It's not just one main event, really, with one championship belt fight. We are seeing 3 exchanges of belts potentially this weekend in UFC 259. Have a 5% play, currently on an 11-4 run in the UFC. And like Carmine and Brian mentioned, I appreciate the kind words, on a 15-1 all sports run. So we have that coupon code that Carmine mentioned for us, using Big 100 to get $100 off our 30-day all access. Turn that into $249. So that's what we have for promos, guys. The UFC play is up. I'll have some hockey packages up for all access guys after this show, but I encourage you guys to check out that 5% UFC play. I feel like the number and price on that is completely off. My best bet, my power play here is going to be a first period over. And I haven't really done any of these really this year. I haven't given out one to the clients in probably weeks. I'm going to go ahead here, and I see a good price with the Ottawa Senators and the Calgary Flames first period over. It's about -125, -130. It's pretty generous, and we've seen the price drop on it quite a bit. We'll wrap things up, guys. That's my best bet. The over in the first period, Ottawa and Calgary. And Carmine's going with Lightning in regulation. Bryan with the Stars, -145. We appreciate you guys for watching the show. We'll see you tomorrow for Friday's edition of Puck Time right here on WagerTalk TV.
Looking to get the edge when betting on the ponies? Get access to all of SIG's reports now through the Belmont Stakes for only $169. You will get approximately 5 sheets per week for the next 15 weeks at $75 $9 reports. That comes out to a $675 value if purchased daily, saving you $506, and you'll have total access to SIG sports racing selections through Derby prep season, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes.